Hi, my name's Ed Mullins and I'm your obstetrician. Top 3 questions from Antenatal Clinic this week are on big babies. Well, first off, nobody ever says anything helpful to pregnant women. They either tell them they look enormous or the baby looks too small. The best way we have of telling how big your baby is to do an ultrasound scan. This measures the baby's head, body and legs and gives you an estimate of how big the baby is. It's the best we've got, but it's not perfect, so the baby could be at least 10% bigger or smaller than the weight we get. We think of babies as large if they're in the top 10 centiles out of 100. That is to say, 90 babies will be smaller and 10 babies will be around that size or bigger at that stage in the pregnancy. Well, oddly no, labour doesn't seem to start any earlier with big babies than it does with normal sized babies. If you are aiming for a vaginal birth, your obstetrician will talk to you about the pros and cons of starting off your labour early in order to reduce the chance of difficulties around the time of birth. One of the more serious complications that can happen with big babies is called shoulder dystocia. This is when the baby's head delivers, but the baby's shoulder gets stuck behind your pubic bone. And this is an emergency. We only have a short time to deliver the baby. And whilst most are delivered without any problems, about 1 out of 100 babies affected by shoulder dystocia can have permanent injury to the nerves controlling their arms or a brain injury. So it's something we very much try and avoid. The latest trial evidence is that if you start labour off at around 38 weeks, you can reduce the risk of shoulder dystocia if the baby's going to be 4 kilos or more. Well, this is a very personal decision, and again, talk to your obstetrician about the pros and cons. Caesarean section is a major surgery, but it does avoid the risk of shoulder dystocia. There are more risks to the baby of needing breathing support around the time of birth, and some suggestion of changes in the microbiome that's picked up during vaginal birth and higher rates of asthma and eczema. It's a very personal decision that based on how many kids you want to have and the circumstances of your pregnancy. Thanks very much for listening. Please like, share or follow, and leave any questions that you'd like me to answer in the comments below. See you next week.